Hey y'all, and welcome to HPE Discover Las Vegas 2025. I'm Sam.
And I'm Manahil. Sam, I hear you're taking us on a tour of this fantastic showcase today.
You are right. We're going to check out some of the coolest and most interesting booths and people at the HPE Discover Showcase. And Manahil, I've got our directions pulled up on the HPE Discover app, so let's go.
Let's go. Sam, where are we heading first today?
First, we're going to head over to the networking neighborhood. Now, the entire showcase is divided up into 3 sections, networking, hybrid cloud, and AI. So we'll hit all 3 of them. But first, Manahil, is this your first HPE Discover?
This is my very first HPE Discover, and I have to tell you something. The energy is unreal, it's electric, and I'm loving it here. So let me back up a little bit. How many times have you been to Discover?
Oh gosh, quite a few. My first ever HPE Discover was in 2018, and that was the first Discover that Antonio took the stage as the CEO of the company. It was a really, really cool and electrifying experience for me too.
Awesome.
Namely because when he took to the stage, I remember all the news outlets going crazy because he rolled up his sleeves when he got up there.
Right.
And they all kept reporting about how they felt like that meant he was ready to get to work.
I love that.
Yeah, and Manahil, we're coming into the networking neighborhood here, and we're going to approach this fish tank. Can you guess what a fish tank might have to do with networking?
To be so honest with you, I'm not entirely sure, but
I promise you it's a deep reason. Can you see in there? That right there
is an access point.
That is an access point. So these are rugged access points designed for extreme environments.
Yeah.
Like the bottom of the ocean. Can you believe it?
That is unreal.
So if you think the access points underwater are cool, wait till you see our Network Operations Center. It is exactly how we run everything here at the Discover event. And I've got a good friend over here that I think will be able to tell us just a little bit more about it. Pooja, can you tell us a little bit more about what is the Network Operations Center and why should we be excited about it?
Hi. So the Network Operations Center is the heart of the event running here at HPE Discover today. So we have our networking rack here for showcase. So we have around 120 APs deployed on this show floor. And if we combine the entire infrastructure, we have a massive network of over 10,000 access points. And we can see a live stats of the number of clients being connected to our access points on the dashboard here. So we have all the devices architected just a few weeks ago just for this entire event that will be happening for over the next 2-3 days. So you can see all our multi-zone controllers, AOS 10 gateways, Aruba switches, the P5G cores, and Edge Connect devices all running at this network live at this booth. So this is pretty cool.
Wow. Thank you so much for showing us that. This is so cool. I love seeing the usage, the number of clients and everything. I just love that we connect to our own Wi-Fi, right? All right, Manahil, let's hit the hybrid cloud neighborhood next.
Absolutely. Let's go.
Alrighty. And, Manahil, as we're headed towards the hybrid cloud neighborhood, we were talking about, how many Discovers we've been to, things like that. Did you know that it is also our 10th year as a company?
Yes, I did, and this new brand is absolutely amazing.
Yes.
I'm loving it.
It's super duper beautiful. I don't know if you've noticed, but everything has changed in terms of like the typography. Mm-hmm. So we've got bolder fonts that are as bold as our moves, taller fonts. We also have a simplified color palette. I think it came across super beautiful, and there's a huge space theme going on here today.
Absolutely.
And did you know that even though we've only been around for 10 years, we have had many, many more Discover events? Can you guess how many?
Oof. You have to tell me. I can't guess. I don't want to get wrong.
We have done a total of 16 HPE Discover events across the US, in Europe, and even virtually during the pandemic, plus hundreds, maybe even thousands, I don't know, more Discover more events across the entire globe.
That's amazing. This is just my first one, and I'm already just amazed. I can't imagine how many other Discovers were even more amazing than this.
Well, you'll have to come back.
Absolutely.
And it looks like right now we're passing through the HPE Financial Services area and our tech museum. So all around us right now are some older, archaic forms of computers and different tech related to companies that HPE or HP worked with in the past, and even former HP products from back in the day when we were the Hewlett-Packard company. It's pretty cool.
Very nice. I definitely want to stop by there after this because there's a lot of, I think I just saw a computer that I maybe used back in elementary. So,
right? Yeah. Okay, and so it looks like we're starting to approach the hybrid cloud neighborhood. Now, we're going to be seeing everything from capacity and cost assessment to virtualization to sustainability, hybrid cloud operations, security, and more in here.
That sure is a lot. Where do we even begin?
That is a great question, and it's fortunate that you asked that. Because I do believe that we have a friend in here named Andy Bryant who should be able to tell us just a little bit more about some of these things.
Absolutely.
Andy, can you tell us a little bit about the hybrid cloud neighborhood? What are some of the highlights? What should we check out? What's cool here?
So we're talking here about HPE Morpheus VM Essentials and HPE Morpheus Enterprise, which is the bigger brother of VM Essentials. Mm-hmm. And really they're the core fundamental part of the unified control plane from edge to cloud. We introduced VM Essentials last year in November. We've now rebranded Morpheus, HPE Morpheus Enterprise, and between them they allow you to deploy workloads from edge to multi-public cloud, manage them all, whether it's a VM, a container, bare metal workload.
Wow. Well, Andy, thank you so much for telling us a little bit about the neighborhood. I'm actually also a little bit curious, what is this HPE Digital Game Changers wall? Do you know anything about that?
That's experience of some of our customers, I think. It's customer references.
Oh, very, very cool. All right, Manahil, that was super interesting.
It definitely was. I need to stop by here as well after the tech museum.
Yeah, right? So I think next we'll be headed towards the AI neighborhood, and we'll have to pass through a couple more things along the way. Mm-hmm. It looks like we're passing through data protection and cyber resilience as well. I think during the keynote, Antonio talked quite a bit about how it's no longer a if you're going to have a cyber threat, but it's a when you're going to have a cyber threat.
Yeah, I heard that. It's pretty scary. So
yeah, and I can only imagine, especially now in the days of physical and agentic AI, those cyber threats are just going to get more and more complex and way scarier. Can you imagine having a robot get hacked or something like that, a physical robot?
Honestly, I think about it every day. I think about it every day.
Every day?
Every day.
And it looks like now we're actually passing through our HP Compute Gen 12 servers. You know, Manahil, earlier this year, we released 8 new HPE Gen 12 servers, and those actually feature HPE's leading direct liquid cooling. Do you know what direct liquid cooling is?
Can you please tell me more, Sam?
So direct liquid cooling is something, it uses water rather than air. So oftentimes when you're trying to cool with air, it can work, but it's not as effective as cooling with water. And HPE has over 300 direct liquid cooling patents. Right. We're the leaders in this space. And that's pretty important because things like AI and supercomputing, they're pretty thirsty.
Absolutely.
So Manahil, I think now we finally made it into the AI neighborhood, and I'm going to take you over to something pretty cool. Speaking of compute, do you know what an exascale computer is?
So I have seen a lot on Slack about this, but please tell me a little bit more.
So an exascale supercomputer has the ability to do, I think, something crazy like quintillion calculations per second.
That's a lot of zeros.
It's 10 to the power of 18 zeros, if you can believe it.
I cannot. I'm shocked.
Yeah, so as we're approaching over here, we're going to be seeing the El Capitan supercomputer, and this is the world's fastest supercomputer. HPE, if you can believe it, has the top 3 only world-verified exascale supercomputers. It's El Capitan, then Frontier, and then the Aurora supercomputer. And even beyond that, and in terms of the top 10 supercomputers, we've got 6.
Wow. That's insane when you think about it.
You know, Manahil, I think I've got our friend over here, Bennett, who can tell us a little bit more about exascale supercomputers and El Capitan. Ben, thank you so much for joining us. What can you tell us about El Capitan and exascale supercomputers?
Well, hi Sam. El Capitan is the world's fastest supercomputer. It is measured in something called exaflops, and an exaflop is a way of measuring the amount of work that a machine can do. An exa being 10 to the 18, which is a quintillion, or a billion instructions every second. So one of the ways that thinking of a quintillion is, if you had quintillion dollars, then you'd be getting about $2.2 billion interest every second.
Oh my.
So it's a big number.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what kind of use cases does something that can do quintillion calculations, what would you use that for?
So these machines are primarily used for science, for simulation, for things like weather and climate modeling, to get better and better accurate models of where storms are going, where hurricanes are going. It's also used for new materials. So you might have heard of nanotubes. So how do you take this theoretical and how would you then turn it at scale into something you could use? Also genomics.
All right, Manahil. So El Capitan was pretty cool, but let's head over to the Innovation Campus as our last stop, and I'll show you something else pretty cool.
Awesome.
I would even go as far to say quantum levels of cool. Right over here, we have Quantum Grace, an HPE Labs AI avatar. So this is an avatar that was actually trained using a real HPE team member and on data, her voice, and you can interact with Grace and ask her questions. I hear she's actually a pretty good weather lady too, if you want to ask about the weather. We even have an Antonio Nearly, which is based off of Antonio, and I think a kind of Krista, which is based off of Krista Satterthwaite.
I think I've seen the Antonio Nearly at the CIC in Houston. So
Yeah.
very exciting.
Pretty cool cutting edge stuff. I mean, you think about a digital twin, that's a true digital twin, right?
Quite literally.
So I think now we're going to be heading over towards the main center area of the entire showcase, Manahil, but we've really seen a whole lot today, and there's still so much that we didn't quite get to. I'm talking about like robots that can play soccer. I think there's even a car in here that was built entirely using AI and robotics, zero human intervention. But I'm curious, as we start to wrap things up, Manahil, what was your favorite stop that we had along the way, or what's your favorite thing that you saw today?
So, two things.
Okay.
Loved seeing Quantum Grace. That was pretty awesome. And then also loved to see the Tech Museum because that's just years of innovation that it's just amazing to see it all in one place. So I'm excited to take a look back and take a little tour myself.
Yeah, we'll have to do another trip around. But you know, Manahil, one thing that we never quite got to was the food here at HPE Discover. I don't know about you, but I am pretty hungry. So why don't we go get something to eat here at HPE Discover Las Vegas 2025. Thank you for joining me, and thank you all for joining us.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Bye, y'all.